have some impromptu briefings in front of the whole week. So I go like go ahead and head out and
okay, we're going to actually be out in the hall.
I've already got one in mind. I have one in mind.
Good, thank you.
All right. Show of hands. Who does not connect? Who doesn't know? All right, but Tuesday. You have 2 minutes to prepare a briefing over how that click broke your photo. All right, it needs to be a minute and a half. Let's do that. Yep. Great.
Can I ask you that quick how she broke?
Nope. You think of the best way.
7 minutes, 30 seconds to pass.
He was keeping us time for
Really? What? Can he have some type of basic premise or something? For what? How she broke it?
No.
I think it'll be funner this way.
It's the way fitting. I see that.
He should have asked.
He still
Oh, he should have asked before.
Yeah.
As soon as he saw it.
You still have another like 50 seconds.
I'm just getting in the zone.
Oh.
It's going to be as wild as
The way fitting. That's the first one. 30 more seconds.
All right, here goes. Good afternoon, Cameron. Good afternoon, POC. Good afternoon, fellow cadets. I'm Cadet Tuzak. I'll be briefing you on how Cadet Click broke a foot. So Cadet Click was thrown to the jungle in the Amazon rainforest because she was scared to death that the penguins were going to die because it was just way too hot in there. So she was running through the jungle, and first she tripped and fell, and she
1 minute, 10
dislocated
seconds
her
remaining.
ankle. But like a champ, she got popped it back in and kept on going. So with the dislocated, she just popped back in. She was pretty under a lot of stress from the pain, and so she did that. So she keeps running through the jungle, and she encounters a hungry tiger that hasn't eaten in a week. So as you imagine, that tiger is very hungry. So she goes, screw the pain. I'm just going to keep going because this tiger's trying to eat me. And so she eventually she finds a in the lagoon. And in this lagoon are the penguins that are trying to survive in this warmer climate because the lagoon is cool. They're trying to cool down to keep their thermal neutral so they don't die. And so she gets to the lagoon. She calls in a 9-line to get evac in there. She does need a few choppers because there was, as you can imagine, a lot of penguins that were stranded in this lagoon. She calls in the 9-line, and then in comes some PJs and a crow that come to save these penguins. And they get out of there, and they rapidly escort to Herberfield, Florida, where they have an ice bath waiting there for these penguins that have been dragged to save. This is today I briefed you on how Cadet Click broke her foot, what she did to save these penguins. This concludes my briefing. Are there any questions?
You referenced a short little term called 9-line. What actually is in a 9-line?
A 9-line consists of, I learned this in first rounders a few weeks ago. So it consists of when you're wounded, you have to call in your coordinates for your arm, your coordinates and your call sign and radio frequency. It's your type of injury of the wounded. Then you have to call in your medevac equipment. And 5 is if they're walking, or if they're able to walk, or if they're unable to walk.
Ambulatory.
Yes, ambulatory or that's not what it is.
That's awesome. I was surprised and a tear came to my eye. I heard it.
Then you call wait for the break birds in the air, wait for them to say break birds in the air, and then you I believe 6 is, I think 6 is your extraction.
How you mark your
Yeah, it's with like smoke or extraction zone. 7. wasn't. What?
Military.
Yeah, eight's military, US military.
Oh, yeah, your security.
Yeah, security main area, then it's the 7-year road, like it's trying to be like, official point.
How many of those 9 linebackers will come out?
All right, so when you're briefing, you always start out by saying good, whatever time of day is, so right now would be afternoon, so good afternoon, good afternoon. All right, so good afternoon, you did correct, Captain Randall at POC, his fellow GMC. So that's how he does it. Then he introduces himself and say what he's going to brief about. Then you do your 3 points. You only have really 1 point. So, but if you have 3 points, I'm going to talk about this, this, and this. And then you can talk about the first one, talk about the second one, talk about the third one. And then you say, I talked about that. And then you can raise any questions. So, a lot of times it's a big format. If you structure it properly, you're going to go very well. So, who wants to do the next briefing? Who doesn't want to do it? You're all indifferent. Briefing or not briefing. All right, Bing, it'll be next. It's going to be about. What is it going to be about?
We go
I mean,
he knows about the Marcus Smart.
you know about the Marcus Market? Like enough to do a briefing. I don't want to do it.
More than what he knew about a foot.
That's true. I don't know why. Let's not do
I don't like
that.
that.
Let's do this. Let's do. All right, briefing on your perfect Valentine's date. Ooh. Give a minute and a half. Yes. The perfect Valentine's Day, like what you would do. Oh, you're a guy, so you're a guy. How would you woo a girl? Okay. Not spit on it. Perfect date, like a girl you can take. Oh, golfer, you said. Yeah. Do I need to have 4 points? You just want to keep it on instruction. I know. So you can say, I do this, this, and this, and that.
I really hope there's
What?
there's be Disney movies in there.
Don't worry about it. All right, 50 seconds. Oh, I've got a good one for the next person. 20 seconds. You ready? Yeah. All right, go ahead. 3 seconds.
Good afternoon, DOC, good afternoon, fellow cadets. My name is Brian Bingham. I'm going to brief what I would think the perfect Valentine's Day entail. Let's see here. First, I would. I need to do the 3 points.
Yes, you always have to do the 3 points.
My first point is going to be about pick up and transport to dinner. And my second point is going to be what happens after dinner. And my third point will be what happens after the movie that we watch.
Yes.
After. Okay, so So I would go ahead and I would drive to her house and pick her up in my truck that had been freshly cleaned. I would have ready a box of chocolates and flowers. I'd walk to the door and ring the doorbell and greet her as she opened the door. I would walk her out to my truck and open the door for her and let her get in the truck and close the door for her. I'd drive to the next location in a safe manner and make sure she feels comfortable with the air conditioning and the heating. Some good music on, which she appreciates. The second point would be, I would take her to dinner to her favorite restaurant, her place of choosing, and let her get whatever she wanted on the menu. She would offer to pay, but I would tell her no.
Shut up. Sorry.
Okay, after dinner, my second point would be we would go to the park and walk and talk casually about life, and about any struggles she's having, and relationship, and maybe just enjoy the scenery, maybe feed the ducks. My third point would be what we would do after we go to the park. I would take her back to my house and we would throw on her favorite Disney movie. And we would enjoy the movie, and I would take her home after that. Be classy. Today I will brief you on my perfect Valentine's date. That concludes my brief.
Any questions? How was the structure of that brief? He introduced himself, 3 points, he elaborated. Then you're supposed to specify the 3 points you had at the end, and then you complete the brief for your questions. So what do you guys think of it? Just
I thought for his first impromptu briefing it was not that bad at all.
anything else somebody could do better next time?
I understand, like, when you're thinking, especially when it's your first time, you're kind of like looking all around. Specific points of like making eye contact, like not even, you don't even have to look at somebody. Like if I'm looking straight at Cadet Smith, they don't know that I'm not looking at you right now. So just having some point of at least looking like eye contact, it would really help.
Pretty good for your first one. It's okay, like you pause if you jump, but you have to say that's fine. Rather than saying 15 times, you just take a second and think to yourself, what you're going to say next. That's much better than kind of rambling.
Jelly green,
Just for everybody, whenever you're briefing, never say like I'm sorry or something like that. Like it's your brief, it's your household. So nobody knows what you have going on up here. So if you mess up, because nobody knows that you messed up. It's your brief, especially if it's impromptu. So because they haven't had time to research it most of the time. So just one more thing.
Exactly. No one's going to be able to tell you what your perfect day is. So you're the local expert on the topic. So let's keep that in mind. Any other comments?
Yeah. So, with your briefs too, try not to make them so maybe robotic. Like point 1 and point 2. And sometimes use like in transition phrases like next, thus, therefore, furthermore. It just kind of flows better rather than being so having so much of a schematic scheme to it. So, good job.
And also, like, you didn't have to be 3. You asked me that, I kind of told you wrong. I thought you just don't need to have that one. It's like 3 is not a magic number, so you can have 2. If you just want to take her up and drop her on you, that you can have 2.
Who gave you the promptu? You did? What was your topic? And tell me you think.
Right now. How much
What do you hear?
You know what they're bringing? What is it? I just want to do something like
Can it brand? Can it click? You know if Foxtrot's coming back?
All right, Echo Flight. Who's briefing for Echo Flight? Is it Ross? All right, go ahead and come up and give us your briefing. And while you're doing that, Echo Alpha Flight can continue to prepare. Just continue to prepare some time.
Good afternoon, First Aid Sherrington, Captain Randolph, Master Sergeant Dornfeld, and Cadet Painter, and good afternoon, Detachment 670. Today I will be giving you a briefing of Cadet Painter's spirit animal. Today I will go over what animal he is, how he's original, how he's magical, and he's just different. We, as a flight, we decided to come up that Cadet Painter is a liger. If any of you are familiar with the movie Napoleon Dynamite, it's probably one of the all-time greatest animals of all time. It is. Now, original. Obviously, Cadet Painter is original. He is who he is. And if he chooses to be in between a lion and a tiger, he can be whatever he wants to be. So he's a liger. Magical. And if any of you have ever seen Napoleon Dynamite's drawing of a liger, it's different. There's rainbows, there's stars. It's more. It's more than what you think it is. And that's what Cadet Painter is. More than what he is. And finally, he's different. And finally, Cadet Painter is different. He's not your average cadet. He's more than a cadet. Let me say that again. He's not your average cadet. He's more than a cadet. With that, Detachment 670, today I gave you a briefing of Cadet Painter's spirit animal, which is a liger. Today I went over about how he's original, how he's magical, and how he's different. Are there any questions?
Questions? Alpha Flight?
Yes.
Cadet Painter, Alpha Flight. What kind of magical powers would you say Cadet Painter has?
Magical powers? Cadet, I would say that Cadet Painter has the ability to stop you in your tracks. Just a simple glance. Magical.
That's true.
Cadet.
So Radford, Echo Flight. There, Ross, would you say that Painter could be vicious as well?
Yes, Cadet Painter has his motives. He's calm, he knows what he's doing, but if you push Cadet Painter's button the wrong way, you don't know what's going to come at you, the lion or the tiger, or both at the same time. Anything else? Any other questions? Anyone sure?
All right, good job.
Do you want me to consider that?
Good afternoon, Lieutenant Sherrington. Good afternoon, Captain Randall. Good afternoon, Master Sergeant Dornfeld. Good afternoon, POC and fellow cadets. I am Cadet Knight, and today I will be briefing you on why The Hunchback of Notre Dame is the greatest Disney movie of all time. Point one is the almost defining characteristic of a great Disney movie is the music. And I will go into further detail with that, and that really is the big part. Number two is it is independent of the traditional scheme of the typical fairy tale story. And number three, it really, with being independent, it has the same take-home value, the moral, that you can take away from any like Aesop's fables. It's just really neat. All right, back to my first point. We have the music. Now, I traditionally am a sucker for old school music. Like really, like Gregorian chants and things like that. It's really neat getting back to the Gothic and ancient times. I really like that. And they can connect that and keep that style in old time Rome and things like that. And they connect it with current generation, things that we're going through. And the Bells of Notre Dame, the opening song, and it's like, who's the monster, who's the man? It is essentially timeless. It is. Now, number two is why it is independent of the traditional scheme is there is no, quote, Disney princess. The main heroine that it cycles around is Esmeralda, who is in fact a gypsy and is outcast of the what's it called, the canon, as it were, of the Catholic Church. And yet she has more righteousness in her than some of the church leaders, and that can be really really taken away, and leads me into my third point, which has just eluded me. I wish I had notes. Morals, yes, thank you. Thank you. Another take-home value for this right now is notes are important. Okay, so take-home value is a real hero and a true leader can come from anywhere. And not following the traditional paradigm or the traditional way of how things are done really brings that movie together. So that is my briefing. I briefed you why The Hunchback of Notre Dame is the greatest movie due to music, its independence of the traditional scheme, and its retaining the take-home value. Yes, ma'am.
Cadet Rouse, Echo Flight. Cadet Knight, are you familiar with the movie Frozen?
I am familiar with such movie.
I would actually argue that Frozen is actually one of the best Disney movies that I've personally seen.
You know, I was considering that, and I thank you for bringing that point up because I've heard people say it was a very bad movie, and I've heard people say it was an incredible movie. I am on the side of it was a very good movie. However, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, it has a certain depth to the movie. It's not simply, you have kind of good and then the struggle, and the struggle goes all the way through. You have happy moments in The Hunchback of Notre Dame. You have sad moments. You have real tearjerkers. You have happiness. And it's just a roller coaster of emotion. But I feel that Frozen does not entirely grasp as well as The Hunchback of Notre Dame does. I would definitely rate it in the top 3. Not a question.
But I mean, Peter Denzel.
Listen.
She's a Broadway superstar. Have you ever heard her rendition of Let It Go? Do I have to sing for you?
Please.
That would be. I don't tempt me with such a request. But see, the thing with Disney is they pride themselves in recruiting only the finest of musicians, vocalists and instrumental. So using the fact that she is a very well Broadway singer, I think really wouldn't make it better than many other Disney movies because actually my trumpet instructor when I was in high school, he had the chance to play for Disney, and if you're going through and you're playing music and you make one mistake and the next person comes up to you and plays it perfect, you're gone. I mean, they are so cutthroat, it's actually kind of humorous. So with that, I think all the movies have their own musical gems. So that's kind of where it's equal on that stage. But I think for bringing that point up, it's great. Are there any other questions or comments or statements? Yes, Steve.
I have a statement.
Thank you.
Lion King is at least 10 times better than Hunchback of Notre Dame. Just saying.
See, the Lion King
based on your degree on music, being independent of the fairy story, and then on morals. I think it beats all three.
I can understand your point, but actually, the reason The Lion King is not my favorite is, have you ever heard of the Shakespearean play Hamlet? Because Lion King is almost a direct replay of Hamlet. If you think about it, the storyline, the king is killed, takes the crown, marries the queen, the son's exiled, and all these different things happen. It's almost, quote, Shakespeare. That's why it's not my thing. So thank you for bringing that up.
the detachment, and Alpha Flight will begin with override procedure, and Echo Flight will be doing flight drill.